Hello, my name is Alex Carver. I'm a Senior Solutions Engineer with Pure Storage, focusing primarily on VMware products and our integrations with it. I want to go through the vSphere remote plugin architecture, specifically Pure Storage's remote plugin architecture. Now, what is a remote plugin? Well, vCenter server has had the ability for partners to go ahead and develop plugins that would install directly to vCenter. So traditional local plugin, where you would have an installer this installer would connect to a vCenter directly, and it would actually go ahead and install a plugin, as it implies, locally within that vCenter. And so that plugin would actually be living within the vCenter. It's installed there. Its dependencies and packages and such would be there. Now, unfortunately, as it was installed locally, it could actually impact other partners' potential plugins that are there, or VMware's plugins that were registered within there and installed. And so there's a lot of compatibility problems that could come up with it, or cross-compatibility. And additionally, VMware wanted to push past actually using or supporting local plugins themselves, from both a security standpoint, vulnerability standpoint, and just being able to have something more streamlined for partners to be able to develop against. So they released the remote plugin kind of support. And so what this does is allows partners to go ahead and develop against this architecture to provide support for integrations in vCenter server that would be running remotely, connect to the vCenter, and then be able to run through those workflows. So this is less about what workflows the plugin actually provides, but more so about how the actual remote plugin works. So no longer are we needing to install anything locally to vCenter. Rather now, well, the plugin isn't installed directly there. You still have to deploy something, and that's an OVA. So this OVA would be deployed wherever you wanted to go ahead and store your infrastructure or kind of production VMs. And so this OVA would go ahead and it would deploy a VM, and in this VM, you would go ahead and have the remote plugin application essentially provided through this VM. So now this remote plugin is running within the VM, and from the VM, you would need to be able to communicate to the vCenter you want to go ahead and register with. And so this vCenter, the remote plugin would go ahead and communicate to it. It wouldn't install anything, rather it just registers its extensions. And vCenter communicates back, yep, you're authenticated, you're registered, everything's good to go. And so now, logging into the vCenter GUI, you would go ahead and see our plugin there, and you would be able to go ahead and register different flash arrays with it, run through workflows such as registering storage providers or creating and configuring host groups, different workflows like those, still in the vCenter server, but those operations wouldn't be running themselves within vCenter. Rather, vCenter is communicating back to the plugin. Those requests happen, and then the plugin is actually able to go ahead and issue those ones. So that plugin would need to have connectivity to the flash arrays that you're wanting to register with them. Additionally, you would want to have connectivity with Pure One. A few reasons for this. One, so that our integrations with Pure One within the plugin would be able to work, such as loading, displaying the load metric within vCenter for the flash arrays registered there and showing up in Pure One. Also, with Pure One, we're able to push or make available, I should say, upgrades for the plugin and appliance. So if there's a new plugin version that's been certified and is available, you would be able to go ahead and query against Pure One saying, hey, is there a software upgrade for the plugin or the appliance? And if there was, we would be able to make it available. You would be able to go ahead and run Pure Software command to upgrade the plugin or the appliance. Additionally, we're able to phone home different telemetry as needed. Or if you're wanting to provide support with a troubleshooting bundle, it would be able to be phoned home as well. So you're able to leverage those aspects too. And so the vCenter itself doesn't need to communicate to Pure One. vCenter doesn't even need to have management connectivity to the flash arrays either over the network. It just needs to be able to communicate directly to the plugin. But the plugin and that VM there does need network connectivity to those different aspects in the environment to be able to leverage it. So while the installation and setup process is a little bit more involved than the local plugin, it's more secure and provides less vulnerabilities within the vCenter server itself, but also allows us to not have to store anything locally within the vCenter, so we can offer role-based access control, RBAC, and be able to push new features and new updates more dynamically through the software update in the appliance itself as well. And moving forward, this is what VMware wants partners to do. They're deprecating the use of local plugins themselves. And so the partners needed to move towards this architecture in the first place, but we're able to actually take advantage of stuff with the remote plugin that we couldn't before with the local one, and being able to be more innovative in future releases of the plugin as well.